Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right.
Kind of not set up properly.
You work on that and I'll get started. How's everyone doing today?
Okay.
Good. Make sure our setup's fine.
Is it hot where you are?
It is. We have hot, humid, oops, nice weather. Is the camera angle okay?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, well, good morning, everybody. We've got a little bit of a late start here. We're busy doing other stuff. Sorry about that. My apologies to you. Sunday fun day. It's going to get all started up in the house here. To get started today, we're going to come all the way to the back of our mats. We're going to bring our feet close together. If you can, get the ball of each big toe and the ankles to kind of come together. And then we're going to start to create length and decompression through the body. So we're going to start that process by lengthening out the legs, almost locking out the knees. And then I'd like you to take your belly, I'd like you to pull it in towards your spine. And as you do that, I'd like you to take that activation, keep it real, and then start to push your chest forward. So as we create elongation through the spinal column, let's draw the shoulders up to the ears. Let's rotate the thumbs inward and then backward. Try to draw up the shoulders a little higher, and then we're going to spiral the thumbs forward and then all the way around. And as we feel the activation across the shoulders and the back of the body, take a big breath in, and then let's pull the neck nice and long by imagining there's a string on the top of the head. Beautiful. Now, take your feet and take the toes and then step them out about 1 inch or 2. So we have kind of a V-like shape that the feet make. Now, take the knees and try to push them into each other, and then take another breath in. And as you do so, let's elevate even higher if you can, just a nudge more shoulder height. Spiral the thumbs back just a little more, and then take a big breath in. And as you release it, sweep the arms to the sky. Now, while we're holding long the body, while we got this nice length, let's try to inhale and lengthen a little more. And as we inhale and lengthen, before you exhale, let's work to keep that length realized. We're not going to let it compromise. Take another breath in, try to lengthen a little more, hold that position. And on the exhale, let's bring the hands over heart. Take another breath in, and on the exhale this time, we're going to try to create an isometric activation by trying to take the ball of each big toe and rotate it in towards each other. So there's no movement. It's all about muscle activation. You should feel some inner thigh muscles starting to activate. We're going to float the body a little bit left to right, and then find that balance. Keep that activation realized. So we feel that nice activation in the inner thighs, maybe a little bit in the buttocks. As you release your next breath, extend the hands forward, separate them shoulder width, separate the fingers widely. Nice. Now, come up onto the toes, rotate the heels outside of the inner part of the foot. So what I mean by that is very complicated. Just make your heels wider in the back than your toes are in the front. There's a different, that's a long way of saying it. Now, as you inhale, roll that spine, and as you exhale, raise the arms. Now, the height that you raise to is all dependent upon a lot of preconditions of our body. And if you find that you're struggling or compressing through the neck by getting the arms up, just modify. They don't have to go high to create an activation of the muscles we're trying to activate. But if you can, reach for the sky. And if you can't reach for the sky, reach out as far in front of you as possible. Now, draw the shoulders down or pull the shoulders back, depending on the elevation of your arms. Take your butt, pull it backwards, keep the knees relatively straight. As you exhale this time, fold the body down and let the spine go into flexion. Let's step the toes so that the sides of the feet run parallel to the mat, about hip width apart. And then let's walk the hands forward into a plank pose. Let's pull your hips up and back to down dog. And we're going to oscillate between our plank coming forward and then back to down dog. So between those 2 points, inhaling as you raise up the hips, exhaling as you come back to plank. Let's do this for a few more breaths. Nice and slow. Remember, we're just still warming up. Let's all meet in the plank. Let's lower the knees down to the mat and then straighten them back out again. So we're kind of working on the lower limbs as we pull up and back to down dog, oscillating back to plank. So we're just kind of adding in the knees down, let them touch on the mat, and then straighten the legs and pull up and back to down dog. And let's do that for a few more breaths. Let's meet back in the plank pose and then lower the knees all the way down. Let's separate the knees about hip width apart as we step our hands back under shoulders. Separate the hands wider than your shoulder base. So take the edges, the baby fingers, if you will, to the edges of the mat. Let's take the hand, and if you look down at it, you can kind of see between your thumb and the next finger, there's a little V shape. So I'd like you to make the V point in towards the midline of your mat. And then separate your fingers nice and wide. So you have a big paw on each arm, if you will, on that mat. Now, let the head just drift towards the earth. And let's bend the elbows today. And then let the forehead just come all the way down towards the mat and just lightly touch. And then extend the arms back straight again. And then take the back of the head, pull it to the sky, and then take the tailbone and flip it up towards the sky. And let's keep that motion realized. So we're constantly bringing the back of the head and tailbone skyward. And then I'd like you to connect with the midsection and the belly button in particular, and try to haul it up and into the spine. And then keep that hollowed out sensation. Let the head kind of drift towards the earth. And then bend the elbows and bring the forehead down to lightly touch. And then come back to a straight arm. And then lift the knees up off the earth. Pull the hips up and back to down dog. It's a short or abbreviated version. Drive the heels into the earth. Push high onto the tippy toes. Use a few more breaths to oscillate between those 2 points. And then everyone step their feet up and in between the hands. As you inhale, extend to a flat back. As you exhale, keep the back in extension and bend both knees. Let's bring the palms onto the shins. If your elbows have rotated internally, externally rotate them so they're out, pointing away from the center line of the body. Make an effort now to push the palms into the shins and simultaneously extend the back and the neck. Lower the butt a little more. Now keep that butt in place. Keep the bend in the elbows, and then unhinge through the hips. So we're kind of getting the chest a little more forward. It still has a downward orientation, but we're kind of angling the upper body. More like a 45-degree angle from the earth, if you will. Now push the palms into the kneecaps, proud the chest, and then release the palms, open them to face forward, elongate the arms, sweep back. As you inhale, sweep the arms forward, stand tall. Reach for the sky or reach out in front, whatever's best for your body. Fill the lungs with air. As you exhale, bring hands over heart. Step the left foot forward and then the right foot back. Good morning, everybody. Now, positioning wise, separating left and right side, we have a nice stable position. In other words, we're not on a tightrope, trying to balance. Take that left knee, the front leg, of course, and make it straight, almost locked out. Take the ball of that big toe, push it into the earth, and then let's make sure we're up on the toes of that back foot, the right foot. But let's make sure that the heel of that foot isn't turning out to the side or in turning inward. It's more aimed skyward. Just take a look. Oh, without falling. It's amazing the proprioceptive behaviors of the eyes. When we take that away, our body is really challenged with balance, as you probably just know. Anyways, let's lean in a little bit and then extend the arms forward. And then bring hands over heart, step the back foot forward and switch sides. Lunge it back, keep the separation, bring straightness to that front leg, back heel aiming at the sky, lean in, arms extend forward, hands come over heart, back foot steps forward. So we're kind of developing a motion. I'm going to step back the opposite side. I want you to kind of remember and work the range a little bit more. If you can lean in just a little more, try it. If your body's warm and accepting of it right now. If it's not, maybe in the next repetition, extend the hands forward, hands heart, back foot forward, opposite side. Leaning in, challenge the depth, extend the arms, hands heart, back foot forward, opposite side. We're going to progress this movement on this next repetition. Leaning in, extending forward the arms. And now as you inhale, raise just slightly. We're going to increase the intensity by raising more next time around. Bring hands heart, back foot forward, opposite side back. How much fun are we having now? I don't know. It's up to you to answer. Inhale, raise. Exhale, hands heart. Switch sides. Now, as promised, as we lean in, try to lean in a little more, extend the arms out, and this time make a different effort to lift a little higher if you can, and then bring hands over heart, switch sides. Stepping back, front leg straight, body long through the neck and also through the spine. Inhaling, raising a little higher if you can, as hands come over heart this time, and step back foot forward, push the hands to the sky. As you inhale, extend, proud the chest. And as you exhale, fold all the way down. A lot of work involved with warming up. And then with all this heat and humidity, I'm finding I'm leaking a little bit already. Now inhale, extend to a flat back. Exhale, fold back down, palms to the mat, feet step back to plank. Let's bring the knees down onto the mat. And a little bit of modification of normal body behavior, which is to have the shoulders forward of the chest. So we're going to sink the chest through the arms. And as I probably mentioned a million, maybe 1.5 million times before, that sinking of the chest through, or prouding when we stand, is really an opportunity to allow us to rotate the scapula, the shoulder blades, so that they have from an internal position to more of an external or righted type of position. Now, Take the feet, step them out about knee width apart. Tuck your toes under, keeping the chest descending through those arms towards the mat. Hollow out your belly. And then gently, with calculation and slowly, lift the knees up off the earth. Drift the hips backwards. The angle in the wrist should be opening up. The heel of that hand, or each hand, should be feeling more pressure. Good. Draw back the hips a little more. Try to tabletop the back. Keep it running parallel to the earth. Come back. Lift the knees, or sorry, straighten the knees so that they lift off the earth. Pull your hips up and back to down dog. Let's drift back down. Bring the knees back to the earth. Draw the hips back, walk the hands forward. Child's pose. Now, come back up for 1 second. Spread the knees wide. And then drift it back into child's pose. So you'll notice that that slight variation, the more open knees, allows for a different range of motion, hopefully. Straighten the arms, walk the hands forward, pull the hips back, in front of nice elongation in the spine. And if your head, or forehead in this case, is touching or pushing into the mat, let's lift the back of the head. Take the chest and push it towards the earth as you lift the head, and avoid any compression. I want you to relax the musculature of the neck. If it feels like it's kind of clamping down, we want to activate without compressing. So just feel that nice elongation of the spine and of the neck. And there should be a nice pull in through the shoulders and the long, and maybe into your chest for that matter. Now let's walk the hands back. Let's float the knees back into a position where they're directly under the hips, with the feet separated hip width apart, and let the head fall towards the earth, and then let the chest kind of push through the arms towards the earth. I'm going to feel the shoulder blades in the back, kind of like feeling like they're a little bit squeezed. Now, I want you to try to pull the shoulders away from the spine. Take your tailbone, flip it to the sky, and take the back of the head and lift it to the sky without lifting the chest. So you're not pulling up, and you're not pulling those shoulder sockets towards the front part of the body. They're kind of residing right in the side of your body, side body, kind of where they should be. Now let's reverse this. Let the head fall. Let the center of the spine be the pull point towards the sky as you tuck your tailbone under this time. Try to lift a little higher through that center spine. And then as you exhale, come back to a neutral spine. Float the knees, pull the hips up. Drive the heels to the earth as you pull the hips backwards and upwards to a modified down dog. Step the feet up and in between the hands. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, bend the knees and step the palms onto the shins. Spiral the elbows away from the body. Elongate spine and neck as you push palms to shin. And if you can, lower that booty. Keep the booty down and then start to unhinge the upper body. Let the palms come onto the kneecaps, keeping that external rotation of the elbows. Push into the kneecaps, keep that spine nice and long. Adding into this, hollow out the tummy. Pull the belly button to the spine. You're going to feel like almost the spine's kind of straightening out a little bit in the lower body or lower back, and that's good. It's kind of what we're looking for. We're kind of training those muscles right now. Now, take the palms off the hands, reach the arms forward, rotate the palms to face. As you inhale, raise the hands so slightly. Exhale, hold. Inhale, raise a little more. We're kind of ratcheting it up. Inhale a little higher. Exhale, hands heart. Stand tall. Good morning. Now extend the hands straight out. Palms are facing. Sweep them together. Interlock the fingers. Flip the palms push forward. Nice. Now you'll see shoulders want to ride forward. I want you to pull back the shoulders. Keeping that external rotation. Let's take the heels and step them out to the side of your mat and take the big toe on each foot and aim it towards the midline of the body or the center part of the mat, whatever your preferred way of saying it is. I said it both ways. It should work, right? Now, as you inhale, take the ball of each big toe and try to spiral it in towards the center line of the mat. Said it one way, not two ways. As you inhale this time, raise the arms. As you exhale, lower down shoulder height. Inhale, raising. Exhale, lowering. And we're keeping that internal rotation of the legs by working actively to spiral the ball of each big foot in towards the midline of the body. Inhale, raise. Exhale, lower, hold. Flip the palms back, keep the fingers interlocked, draw the hips backwards. Now, as you inhale, let's rotate the shoulders. You notice the difference as we come back center of rotating arms and rotating shoulders may be subtle in terms of what we're thinking, but the experience that we're trying to realize as we go from side to side is the rotational energy derived from the rotational muscles of our torso. So if we just move our arms, we're forgoing all of that very important development of those rotational stabilizers. Yeah, Kirsten's basically saying, you're talking too much and this is killing me. All right, now come back center, bring hands over heart, straighten the legs, stand tall, push your hands to the sky. As you inhale and then exhale, fold it all the way down. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Exhale, fold, step your feet back into our plank pose. As we practiced earlier, letting the chest descend through the arms towards the mat. Let's do that in our plank right now. We often do this more habitually than for any other reason. We let the head kind of fall off the body. So as we let the chest descend towards the earth, take the back of the head and lift it to the sky without compromising that descension of the chest. Now, hollow out the belly. Drive the heels in towards the earth as you draw the hips upward and backward slowly. Keep the heels driving earthward. Take the left leg, lift it to the sky. Now, we warmed our rotational stabilizers. We're going to be working them right now simply by practicing to keep the shoulders and hips square to your mat. So we haven't opened up anything. Lower the left leg, come back to plank. Add a push-up in here. And then pull up and back to down dog. Hips, shoulders square, right leg lifts to the sky. Lower right, come back to plank. We've added that push-up in. We wouldn't want to miss it this time, would we? Push back up, pull up and back down dog. Slow it down. Left leg sky. Left leg lowers. Come back to plank. Nice push up. Knees are optional. Pull up and back down dog. Right leg sky. Hip shoulders are still square, right? Just checking. Come back to plank. Lower down onto the knees. Pull the hips back. Walk the hands forward. We're going to modify our child's pose by walking the hands back in, widening out the knees. And this time we're going to take the ball of each big toe together. See if you can also solicit the heels of each foot to also make the same connection as the ball of each big foot. Big toe, sorry, big foot. Yetai. Now pull the hips backwards, walk the hands forward. And see if you can let the hips sink down onto the heels as you make nice length through the spine and through the neck. This is an active pose right now. We're not letting the forehead really alight upon the mat. We're keeping it actively. So we're keeping the neck actively engaged by using those muscles to elevate that head up off the mat. See if you can push the chest a little closer to the earth. And then as you inhale, step the hands back underneath the shoulders, keeping that connection of the ball of each big toe and the heel. Squeeze the heels into each other, and then try to elevate the knees and then lower them down. Squeeze the heels, elevate the knees, and then lower. And then hold on this for 1 second, make a bigger effort. Try to really push those heels together. We don't want any pain, just enough to feel a very big effort to connect, and then float the knees back up, and then open up the feet onto the toes, and then pull the hips up and back to down dog, drive the heels to the earth, and then step feet forward. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Exhale, fold back down. Let's turn sideways onto the mat in this folded position. And let's separate the feet nice and wide. Doing this with a partner is a little more problematic because sometimes one body part doesn't fit well into another, if you know what I mean. Too much information, Kirsten says. Now, let's position our bodies using the registration of weight in the feet. It's simple. We talk about this all the time. Let's take the hands out in front, walk them forward, and then let the body, because we're going to use them to help assist some of the body weight. So let the body kind of drift towards the hands. And then I want you to feel what it feels like in the foot. And if you're feeling what I'm feeling, if the legs are straight, you're going to feel a lot of pressurization in the ball of the big foot, or big foot. I don't know why I got that in my head. Ball of the big toe. And then I want you to kind of take that weight bearing out of that area by drawing the hips backwards. Let the hands just stay in place. We're going to use those to help us not topple backwards. And keep the legs straight, but draw back and elongate the spine. Keep the neck long and keep drawing backwards. It's okay if the fingers slide a little bit along that earth. But I want you to get as much weight bearing into the heel of each foot. Now, as you inhale, lengthen the spine, extend to a flat back if you can. And then let's walk the hands towards the right foot. Now, take the left hand and try to walk it past the right foot so that the fingers are on the outside of that foot. If it doesn't go there, that's fine. It's all about creating that activation as opposed to arriving at a destination. Activation's good. Destinations sometimes can be problematic because we force ourselves to get there when we're not ready yet. So take your time. Now take the left hand, sweep it over to the left foot, sweep that right hand over towards the left foot also. And we're doing the same thing opposite side. If you can, use the registration we kind of identified earlier to where your hips are located. So the weight bearing's back into the heel of that left and right foot. We're feeling more in the left foot because we've shifted more of our weight there, of course. And then come back center. Flip the fingers so that they aim through the legs and then start to walk the hands backwards. And let the spine go into flexion. Now, our quadriceps are going to want to dominate this particular position. But if you can, I'd like you to try to drift the hips, hips backwards. So you have the weight to the heel of the foot. Keep walking back. Let a lot of flexion in the spine. You can kind of like really go crazy if you want. Keep the legs straight. And if you can, try to straighten them a little more. And then try to take the heels and push them away from the center line of the body. If they slide out, be careful. We want to not like lose control. It's again, just muscle activation. We don't want to use so much force that the heels slide. All right, so now we've enjoyed this stretch a little bit. We're going to walk the hands back forward, bring them slightly forward to the shoulders, and we're going to tabletop the back. And if you're getting any screaming in the hamstrings or inner thigh muscles, good. That's just those muscles working actively. Those are some of the most abused muscles of the body, and abused not in a bad way. If you call sedentary behavior abuse. When we sit, the hamstrings and these inner thigh muscles generally get weakened a lot. So we're really working them over time right now. And if they feel like they're straining, that's not a bad thing. Now, if they feel like they're painful, that's something different. So don't go there. Now, keeping the back nice and straight, take the right hand, sweep it out sideways, palms facing the earth. The left fingertips are still down. Let's make the chest proud and let's push it towards the earth. And then take the right shoulder and lift it to the sky. And then bring that right hand back down to the earth and then sweep the left arm out. Let's make the chest proud, push it towards the earth. Let's take the left shoulder, raise it towards the sky. There's a lot of muscle in play here. And if you feel a lot of things kind of pulling and working hard, good. Now take the left hand back down. And we're going to add a little bit of a progression of this. Sweep the right arm out. Take the chest, push it to the earth. Drift the hips backwards. Give me as much weight bearing to the heel as you can. Take the right shoulder, rotate it to the sky, and then rotate it a little higher as you inhale. And as you exhale, bring that right hand back down. We switch to the opposite side. Chest pushes towards the earth. Spine and neck long, left shoulder rotates sky. Inhale, rotate a little higher. Exhale, bring that left hand down. Let's walk the hands back underneath the shoulders and then step them onto the thighs and then unhinge it, come back up to a wide leg, standing position, bring hands onto hips. Now, if your knees are bent, straighten them. This makes the exercise a little bit different. Take the heels and try to pull them into the center line of the body. So we have more of an inner thigh activation. Let's keep that internal rotation energy of the heels active as you bring the hands forward. Let's keep the spine and neck long and draw the hips backwards. As we rotate internally the heels, you should feel a big inner thigh activation. A little bit of trembling and shaking is always good in this instance. Let's elevate the arms, hold, and then bring hands over heart. And then let's step the feet forward, together and turn to face forward. Nice. Now, with feet separated, hip width apart, take the hands, extend them out. As you inhale, reach for the sky. As you exhale, lower them back down, shoulder height. Draw the hips backwards, lower down into a squat. Now, as you lower down into the squat, I see often a lot of things going on with the knees. So try to keep them tracking. Right between the big toe, there's two small toes. So try to make sure the knee is kind of in line with those two smaller toes. As you inhale, raise the arms. As you exhale, bring hands over heart. Stand tall. Push the hands forward. Lower down to squat. Inhale, raise the arms. Hands heart. Stand tall. You can kind of see the movement pattern now. Extend forward. See if you can increase the range of motion. And that's simply, if you can lower the hips a little lower, keep the knees tracking. And when the arms extend, raising the motion of arm height. Come back up, squat it down, hold down this time. See if you can get a little lower. Hollow out your belly. Pull that into the spine. Hollow it out. Hands heart. Stand tall. Hands extend forward, lower down. As you lower, hollow out the belly this time. Put it together. So keep those knees tracking. Try to get a little more depth. Raise the arms, stand tall, hands heart. Thank you very much. As you inhale, push the hands to the sky. As you exhale, fold, and then have a seat. Oh, no, class is not over. Yeah, it is very graceful, isn't it? I'm going to grab a little water to deplete my glowing body. Yeah, too much information. Cheers. How's Mark and Sue and Val doing today? Good stuff. I know you're all on mute, but I could just hear the response. It's like telepathic. Let's bring our hands onto the kneecaps. Let's bring the feet out to the sides of the mat, or the sides of the feet anyways. And then we're going to roll. We're going to C-curve the spine. So we're going to kind of roll onto the tailbone. And then we're going to use the hands to help guide down. We're going to take the feet along this time. And as we C-curve the spine, try to come down ever so slowly. When the back of the head alights on the mat, let's take the shoulders and flatten out the shoulder blades. So if you're riding on the ridge, try to take the shoulders and rotate them towards the mat. Feel the pressure change so that the flat part of the shoulder blade is resting on the mat. Now take the legs, extend them to the sky. So the easy way to tell imbalances in our body is when we start doing things that aren't usual to our movement patterns, like we're doing now. We don't do this typically during the day. And if you kind of look at your ankles and your knees, and you can see whether you can achieve a relatively lengthened and straightened knee, and whether the ankle's in flexion or if the feet kind of point. And those are generally good indications that there's some muscle interaction that's imbalanced, because if the knees won't straighten, then we have imbalance. And if the toes point, then yeah, that shouldn't be really happening, but it is. So just an awareness. Now we're going to try to work to strengthen some of those muscles that enable the knees to straighten and the ankles to be more righted or right angled. So let's take the toes and pull them towards the shin. And that muscle you feel active is your anterior tibialis, your shin bone. That's what gives you those shin splints. So we're going to just flex and extend the feet. So we're going to point and then pull. So pull in, flexion, push out, extension. So extending and flexing the foot. You might also hear this said dorsiflexion or dorsal extension. That's all we're really doing. So we're going to do that a few more times. And then we're going to try to neutralize the foot, give a right angle to the heel or ankle, sorry. And then we're going to take the left leg and we're going to let it drop down onto the earth. And then with the use of a towel, you can flip it over the foot. I'm going to use my hands because I don't have the option of a towel, but if you do, use it. And then we're going to take the leg, the right leg in this case, and we're going to slowly pull it in towards the body. And this is often met with the resistance of a shortened hamstring. And the reason why it's shortened is that's what you practice every time you sit. You have to, when your knee's in flexion, that muscle's active and it shortens up and it becomes normal. So we're using a little bit of stretching technique here to help lengthen it back out. And then release that. Let it just take a little relaxation. And then this time we're going to use a different type of technique. So whether you're using a towel or whether you're using your hands wrapped around the leg or whatever part of the leg you can grab, I'd like you to push the leg or push against the towel. So we're going to try to push the leg away from the body. And then as you work to actively push away the leg, we're going to draw it in towards the body. This might help facilitate a better stretch for you. So as you pull in, you're actively pushing away, and we're finding a different type of lengthening mechanism. We're kind of using the body's own natural muscle activation for the benefit of this stretch. And then let's relax that. Let the right leg return all the way down onto the mat. Take the left leg, bring it up. Excuse me. Towel or hands, whatever your preference, and then gently pull that left leg in towards the body. With stretching, breathing is so important. Short, shallow breaths subconsciously signal stress to the body. So when you get stressed, you know, that yoga breath, you know, adage, take a deep yoga breath. Well, it's just a different way of signaling to your mind and hopefully to your body. You're trying to bring calmness. And that's the kind of breathing you should be using now. Let's relax this. Let it hover, take a break for a couple seconds. And then let's re-engage with it. Hands or towel, actively pushing the leg downward, away from the body. And as we keep that activation, pulling in the leg towards the body. As you release the leg this time, let's bring both feet to the earth. So we're going to step in the right foot as the left foot comes down. It's just about hip width apart. Let's take the toes and turn them into the midline of the body. If they touch, that's fine. If they don't, no big deal. No big whoop. Let's bring the thighs together and then squeeze the thighs. Good. Now, hollow out the belly. Keep that hollow belly muscle activation real. Don't lose it. And then while you keep the thighs squeezing together, extend the legs straight out. So you have an angle. And then lower the feet back down. Separate the mat width apart. Keep the belly actively hollowing out. And then lift up your tailbone up off the mat. And see if you can come up onto the shoulders. So we're forming a wedge of swords, sorry. I said shorts too, wedge of swords. Boy, vocabulary challenge today. Now, as you work to actively pull the belly button into the spine, try to push the hips a little higher and try to avoid any compression. So a lot of times we meet effort with contraction and compression. And I want you to try to avoid that. It's more about muscle activation with not overexerting. And then let's lower everything down onto the mat, extend the legs out. Let's separate the heels about hip width apart. Just before you step them in, about an inch or two, just to put a slight bend in the knees. We're going to rotate the big toes into touch, and the thighs may follow along, but if they don't, make a conscious effort to bring them together. Let's take the belly button and bring it into the spine. Let's take the heels and push them into the mat. And then let's add our arms into this as you cup the fingertips and bring them down onto your mat. Give me the chest, make it nice and proud. Push the fingertips into the mat. Try to elevate the tailbone up a little higher if you can, avoiding the compressive factors that we like to bring in to these exercises. Make sure that's nice and relaxed everywhere else. Big activation of inner thighs, big activation of hamstrings. Let's lower down and pull the knees up and into the chest. Let's bring the knees together and then pull them into the chest. Keep them pulled in, but separate the knees wider. So we're kind of circling through this. Let the knees kind of keep wide and descend downwards. And then when you go as far as you can, bring the knees back together. Pull them up and in. Well, I'm describing the circle. Everyone knows we're making it. And then reverse. And then bring the bottoms of the feet together. Let the sides of the feet rest on the mat. And then kind of roll side to side. We have like a nice splayed opening of the legs. I'm just rocking side to side. Then I'm going to bring the knees back together. I'm going to pull the back into the chest, bring the forehead up to meet the knees, and then I'm going to rock and roll front to back and come up to a seated position, cross-legged style, or extended leg, straight out, whatever your preference is. Now, if you've kind of given in, don't ever give up. Let's make nice and long, make nice and long the neck. Let's make the chest nice and proud. Take a big breath in. Hold that length and strength as you bring hands over heart on the exhale. Take another breath in. And as you exhale this time, let me thank you for your great participation today. Thanks for joining us. Namaste. All right, peoples. How's everyone doing today? Wow.
You have to look at the camera.
Oh,
Hello.
hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Oh,
Hello.
hi. Thank
So
you.
what's everyone's story today? What's everyone up to?
It's hot here.
Todd here.
Not here.
See? Todd
I feel like-
everywhere.
What's the, I think the artist's name is Nelly. It's hot in here. It's getting hot in here?
For Todd or whatever,
No, that's Nelly Furtado. That's a Canadian artist.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's hot everywhere.
Yes.
It just seems.
No, it was fine in Argentina.
Oh,
Global warming.
oh, Val, you're in Argentina now?
No, I came back,
You came
but
back.
it was fine in Argentina. It's just that I couldn't ever join because it was in the middle of the morning
Ah,
because of the time difference. Yeah.
well, we're glad you're back. It sounds like your travels were enjoyable because it wasn't too hot.
It was hard 2 weeks.
You're busy all the time, a lot of activity.
And I had a lot of students with COVID, so it was not
Oh.
fun. And now I
Oh.
have another group in São Paulo starting at 1 today. So I'm on call all week.
Oh,
Wow.
Can I ask what you do, Val? What you do when you're there?
So, so I coordinate there's a course that is global consulting for all of the school of business. And the first time that we're in a country, so I not only plan it, but I run it. So to see, how we need to improve it, what went well and what didn't go well. And then the second time I send 1% of my team. It's not that I've never been to Argentina because I am from Argentina, but I haven't worked with Argentina in 11 years. So, and the country's a mess. So I went. And from there, I had to run Sao Paulo, but I couldn't be 3 weeks doing this in a row. So I'm doing this remotely with a member of my team, and I'm holding his hand 24/7. It's been exhausting. I wish I was there instead of here on the phone constantly. But yeah, so in March, I had 11 groups at the same time. And this
Wow.
time I had four groups at the same time, the same week, doing the same in different countries across the map.
How many
So
in
you're
each
having-
group?
So you're having fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Is the country as bad as our country?
That's the humor.
No, Argentina is really bad. It's a country that could be doing so well, but corruption is horrible. So
Right.
while I was there, there's like 10 different exchange rates. And so the official one was half of the unofficial one. And while we were there, it went to 1 to 3. So from Sunday to Sunday, things got severely cheaper.
Oh,
Is really, really bad for the country. Yeah.
Wow.
So, but difficult to plan, you pay something that then the people on the other end get nothing.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
So you
fair.
can't use credit cards. You have to pay everything in cash. It's very difficult. Yeah.
That's difficult, very difficult.
So I travel like a narco person with a lot of dollars in my pocket, exchanging it in the black market and paying cash.
Wow.
Wow.
Is there a lot of crime?
No. There's not. The city, Buenos Aires, is second safest city in the world nowadays. It's
Oh.
really nice. The city is like in the last 10 years improved significantly. It's a bliss to go there. It's just that politically, it's run by corrupts. So,
Wow.
oh well, but it's nice. It's good to be back.
Good
Well,
old USA.
I hear the Argentinians are very nice people.
Yeah, there's one right in the middle
I
there.
hear that too.
Wow, okay, history lesson done.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Have a nice
Right.
Sunday.
All right,
Everybody,
thanks for joining,
Enjoy
enjoy
everybody.
your day.
Bye.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Sean.
Bye,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.